Ontario's Special Investigations Unit has cleared a Thunder Bay police officer of wrongdoing in a Boxing Day shooting in Quebec. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The exchange of gunfire happened on Highway 1117 after city police spotted a man carrying a rifle. Police body cam video has confirmed the suspect fired his weapon first, striking the police cruiser. He was then shot in the chest by one of the officers and was taken to hospital. Brendan Miller joins us now in studio. Brendan, what were the findings of that SIU investigation?
Well, Ryan, the suspect was shot by an officer at the scene. The SIU says no criminal offense was committed by city police in the handling of this dangerous situation. And the details from the SIU director's final report are chilling. On the afternoon of December 26th, OPP assisted Thunder Bay Police in closing Highway 1117 near Pebblestone Road following the shooting of an armed suspect. City police had responded to a call about a man walking along the highway with a rifle. According to the SIU report, the first arriving officer approached the man carrying a long firearm. As the suspect became belligerent, the officer told him to take it easy before getting back into the cruiser and speeding away. Another officer came and assisted and then drove up to the suspect. That officer then got out and ordered the man to drop his weapon. The suspect raised the shotgun and pulled the trigger, but it didn't go off. The officer quickly crouched behind his cruiser, and the suspect pulled the trigger a second time, blasting a large hole in the door of the cruiser. The first officer, who had quickly sped back towards the scene, pulled out his police Glock 17 and fired one shot at the suspect, hitting him in the right side of his chest. Both officers approached with guns aimed, moved the shotgun away from the suspect, arrested him, and began first aid. The suspect survived. 58-year-old Daniel Smith was charged the next day with attempted murder. The SIU's final report says the officer believed it was necessary to fire at the suspect to prevent him from shooting his fellow officer. In short, the SIU determined there was no basis for criminal proceedings against the officer who shot Smith. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
Cam River Heritage Park has been chosen by city staff once again as their preferred site for the proposed temporary shelter village. The recommendation comes after City Council asked to compare the pros and cons of that location to the Fort William Road site owned by the LRCA. The final decision could be made by City Council on Monday. Jessica Clement has the details.
Cam River Heritage Park had been one of City Administration's original site recommendations for the homeless village last fall, but the Miles Street location was preferred by staff due to cost and construction timelines. After Council rejected Miles Street, City staff came back in April and recommended 1111 Fort William Road, but instead Council voted to focus on a city-owned property on North Cumberland Street. That also ended up being rejected, with Councillor Casey Training getting support to look again at Cam River Park or Fort William Road. Encampment Response Lead Riley Willinen has tabled a report showing the Cam River site has a few more advantages than Fort William Road, including that it's municipally owned, closer to services and amenities, and is the location of a current encampment. McKellar Ward Councillor Brian Hamilton supports the recommendation.
The things that I really wanted to see, and I thought that the public would be the most supportive of, is if we transform a current tent area, right? An area that people already are, so that we're actually transforming and we're actually adding positive components to the people, to the residents that live there, but also helping clean up the site and providing the supports and services that people need and ultimately that the public is expecting us to deliver.
The Cam River site is on the border of the McKellar and West Fort wards. West Fort Councillor Kristen Oliver says the proposed location makes sense to her.
I think what we're doing and the proposal coming from administration will make this area safer because we will have wraparound supports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There will be fencing, there will be security. There's, I think, so much thought and process has gone into implementation of this type of village to support people that are currently experiencing homelessness, that I'm confident that this will meet our needs.
The proposed village would offer up to 80 heated and lockable units with electricity, along with shared washrooms and showers. It will also be staffed and have security 24/7. The recommendation will be brought to Council on Monday, and City Manager John Collins says they need to make a final decision by May 5th or risk losing $2.8 million in provincial funding. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Northwestern Ontario municipal leaders got a chance to get direct answers from visiting provincial ministers today as the annual NOMA conference wrapped up with a ministers' forum. Justin Hardy was there.
From the Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act to the potential absorption of unincorporated communities by neighboring municipalities, this year's Ministers' Forum had a diverse range of topics. Some of the attending ministers had more questions to face than others.
There are 7 other wonderful ministers on this list. They are dying to answer a question.
Most of the first questions were directed at Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Mines. Shunia Councillor Don Smith wanted to know how energy would keep up with the acceleration of large projects through the Protect Ontario Act.
My request to the ministry and to the minister is that the electrical transmission projects be included under the act.
I guess the short answer is we're going to do that. In the spring, we'll be bringing forth a policy. So this legislation brought forth, it allows us, it enables some of the authorities, but later on this calendar year, in this parliamentary session, we'll bring forth a plan that will apply the same efficiency framework to transmission. Because I agree with you, we could be shaving off time and money.
Municipalities also took advantage of the presence of Rob Flack, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Former NOMA President Dave Canfield asked the province to give municipalities the power to absorb neighboring unincorporated communities, many of which already rely on municipal infrastructure.
It's a simple solution. I don't understand why you can't figure it out. You figured it out from 95 to 2000. Let us annex the unincorporated. That problem will disappear.
Point well taken. I've heard it loud and clear here today. Obviously, the majority of the unincorporated communities are in the north, and we're going to put Minister Graydon Smith on it. We're going to come up with solutions.
Many of the ministers offered follow-ups at Queen's Park with municipal representatives. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Firefighters in Nalaloo and Thunder Bay had to deal with a pair of residential fires yesterday. A home on Highway 588 was fully engulfed in flames when crews from Nalaloo and O'Connor Township arrived yesterday afternoon. Fortunately, no one was hurt. A fundraiser has been set up for the couple who lost their home. Then just before midnight, Thunder Bay fire rescue crews were called to a vehicle and garage fire on Broadway Avenue. The homeowner was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Nescantaga Chief Gary Quizis and members of his community flew back home today to get a look at the work being done to set up a temporary clinic to replace their flood-damaged nursing station. Quizis says he was told the clinic is ready, but he disagrees.
On my perspective, I don't see it's operational. I see it's still under construction. The ramp is still getting built to access the temporary clinic.
Over 150 evacuees are still in Thunder Bay due to the lack of a reliable health facility. Community members have been staying in Thunder Bay hotels for nearly 2 weeks. And even though the city and other partners are doing their best to keep them comfortable, Nescantaga Council members say their residents are growing more and more pessimistic about the progress back home.
It's really hard to even be hopeful or even, I guess, like believe their words anymore. Like it really feels like they're just trying to slow this down and continue on with like, you know, I feel like they're just making excuses half the time.
The elders, you know, they're getting restless, you know, staying in one room, a small room like 8 by 10 or whatever. You know, it's not really a way to live.
Thunder Bay District Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Janet DeMille, is reflecting on her 12 years in that role after she announced yesterday that she's resigning in December. DeMille says throughout all of her years at the District Health Unit, the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, is a time she'll never forget. She oversaw the health unit's response, including the administration of almost 500,000 vaccines. DeMille also highlights other work with the Health Unit Board to address other public health issues and strengthen health programming. She notes her future is still up in the air at this time.
I have sort of a lot of things probably that's going through my mind. I haven't really pursued those. I will be, but not right now. And some of it's actually personal sort of opportunities, as well as you know, I'd like to stay and do some public health work. But not quite at the magnitude that I have been doing.
The Board of Health will now begin the recruitment process. DeMille will help the health unit leadership ensure a smooth transition before she leaves at the end of the year. Construction has started up again on Red River Road between St. Paul and Court Streets on the final stage of the North Core Streetscapes project. The multi-million-dollar upgrades began last year but had to be halted when the winter weather came. Now that it's gotten warmer, the final portions of the work can be finished, including the rest of the paving stones, street furniture installation, and traffic light setup. City engineer Brian Newman says this phase should take about 6 to 8 weeks.
The intent of this was always to have open air events and long-term events and, weeks at a time sort of thing. So this is the kind of feel it out season, or year I should say. Once all the construction's done, we'll get a good indication of how these events will progress and how they'll end up. But I mean, so far it's lots of great feedback.
There won't be a formal detour posted in the area, so the city is urging drivers and pedestrians to plan an alternate route during the construction. A woman from the Niagara Falls area is the latest winner of the Thunder Bay 50-50 draw. Jeanette Kulik got the life-changing call today from Hospital Foundation CEO Glenn Craig.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So,
this is unbelievable. People are not going to believe me because I told my coworkers yesterday that I am going to be winning the lottery and I am going to be retiring.
well, I can control one of those two things. I can't control your retirement, but I can tell you that you've won the Thunder Bay 50-50.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe this.
Do you want to know how much you won?
Yes, please.
$1,638,382.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I'm shaking right now.
And tickets for next month's 50-50 draw are on sale now. Well, I think we've all said to our colleagues at one time or another that we're going to be winning the lottery and retiring. Unfortunately, Haley, it hasn't happened yet for you or I. We will have to take solace in the fact that we had another double-digit temperature day out there, even though it was a little cloudy.
I mean, compared to the lottery, it may not seem like that big of a win.
Take what we can get.
We could take what we can get, yeah. You know what? Woohoo! 12 degrees was our high today. So yeah, if you didn't win the lottery, it's still nice to go out for a stroll at least. It was mainly cloudy for the most part, and Environment Canada did note that there was a slight light rain shower at around 8 this morning. I will admit I was sleeping then, so I didn't see it, but it was brief, and for the rest of the day we remained dry as it was just mostly cloudy. Now, winds were predominantly from the north, gusting north-northeast later this afternoon, most recently up to 35 kilometers an hour, so a little moderately gusty, but not too bad. And our overnight low last night was very mild as well, so not too bad. Now, when we look at our region, areas to the west are still seeing lovely temperatures. We see Kenora at 15. They had a high of 16. Red Lake had a high of 15. They're now at 13. So temperatures are dropping back a little bit now, but still quite lovely if you haven't gone out for that evening stroll in those areas yet. And there was a mix of sun and cloud through most of the western portions of our region today, so it's nice to see the sun is popping out for the last few hours on that part of our region. Now, areas along the North Shore did see some northern winds today, moderate for the most part, but we do see a few colder temperatures slightly below seasonal in those areas. They didn't quite get up to double digits in certain areas. We see a high of 8 in Armstrong and in Marathon. We see more overcast skies in those areas of the region as well. Now, both Wawa and Sault Ste. Marie saw some showers today. Sault Ste. Marie did get to a high of 9 and saw their rain in the afternoon. So for Thunder Bay, we do have a slight chance of showers at this hour. It's only around 30 to 40% chance. So that means our evening will start partly cloudy, but will be clearing as the night goes on. However, we will have fog patches as well. Our low will be -1, so we could drop below the freezing mark tonight, but winds should not be too gusty, 20 kilometers an hour at most, and they should be lessening as the night goes on. As we take a look into our weekend, we should have pretty comfortable temperatures once again, which will be nice to see. On Sunday, you expect the sun because it's in the name. However, we're swapping that. We have a sunny Saturday and a cloudy Sunday predicted in our forecast. And we do have a chance of showers on Sunday as well. But of course, Ryan, I'll give you all the details on those comfortable temperatures, what the sky conditions will look like, and everything you need to know for the weekend a little bit later in the news hour.
Okay, can't wait for that. Thanks a lot, Haley.